which is designated sacred space for tigers by law.
So guys, how was the movie? The man has taken 10 years to, get his dream on the big screen, and finally it's here. And I'm really proud that, all of you have loved the film. There's romance, there's separation, there's action in the movie. And Warren has done a fantastic job. And this is because of him that, we get to see Ustad for the last time on the big screen. Thank you, Warren. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. We're going to open up for a few questions if there are any, but I just want to thank my parents who are in the back. It takes a lot of understanding when your son says, hey, I'm going to go for 10 years and follow a wild animal instead of growing up. So thank you. Also, I've got crew here. Vishal worked on the film. Sujit is somewhere. Shashank is somewhere to the illustrations. Ritesh is back to help me with the graphics, and I think I called him every day in the pandemic. So thank you for everyone who helped me with the film and supported me. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. And there's a lot of friends over here who've also listened to my stuff about this movie for a while. My friend Vieira is over here, who I've driven crazy. So thank you all. My cousin Verna is somewhere over here too. She also has listened to this film quite a bit. But I may be missing somebody, but if I see you, But I want to open up for questions. So yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Were you in any danger?
Not really, because when you're in a Jeep, it's relatively safe filming tigers. So when you walk, it's a little different. But I just wanted to experience what it was like to what these people did before they got killed.
No close encounters?
Yeah, there were, and those are the ones you want. You want to get the shots, Yeah. Yes.
What took 10 years to get the movie out?
What took 10 years?
Yeah.
So some of it is just, the story evolved, as you saw, because I was making a natural history documentary, then all of a sudden it became something a lot more bigger and complicated. So it's for that reason, then just learning on the job, and then also budget, because it was independent film, and so I played multiple roles, and then also just trying to maintain a very high standard of doing it again and again, and then the independent film world right now is sort of in its worst, case. Yes.
What do you think about the cheetahs that have been brought to India?
Okay, I'm not a wildlife expert, and I get these questions. I'm a filmmaker, but I think to the extent that it takes away critical tiger habitat, it's a problem. To the extent in which it increases protected areas in the country, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Hi, just a quick question.
Okay.
Thank you first of all to put this documentary together. I think since we started our wildlife journey, we've heard about Tiger 24 and Nuri, the whole Jing Bang, right? So it's great to watch them here. We noticed that Rambal's son didn't really say anything on camera.
Yeah.
So when you off the camera, just wanted to ask, did he say anything about the incident?
Yeah. So they agreed to the interview, and when I went there and I asked him those questions, he kind of froze because it was still so fresh. And then his mother started crying, so I cut the interview. But then I actually had one of my crew members, Sujit, go back and do a more traditional interview, and he did have an extended interview. But to me, as a filmmaker, when I look back at the edit, everything that had to be said was in the emotion. So we didn't need someone standing there and recounting something. So for me in the edit, I felt like her crying and him freezing communicated everything you needed to communicate about that sequence. And it also allowed it to intercut pretty well with the Noor roaring sequence, which, I hate these intermissions over here, but this is how it works. But for those reasons, I felt like it worked without doing a long form interview. But we have the interview, and I watched it, Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you for putting such a beautiful documentary together. It's, I think, probably the first time we are seeing big cats on the big screen in India. So my question is, you have been working for now like 10 years or more than 10 years, and not only in Ranthambore, but I believe Bandhavgarh and other national parks too. when Valmiki Thapar said that let the tiger die, you need not intervene. What's your view on that? Means you have interacted to so many people. So what do you think it would happen?
I think it's all wildlife is now managed. So what we see in a traditional nature doc is kind of a lie, that it's these expansive wild spaces that have all these tigers. And the truth is, wildlife's managed. There's very little areas. The critical tiger habitat has villas just around it. If you keep going, my hotel is right there, for example. So I think Valmik Thapar is a tiger expert, and his opinion is always going to be better than mine. I think he knows a lot more about this stuff. But if you're a field director and your dominant male tiger is in trouble, you're in trouble when he dies. So you try to do whatever you can to keep him going. And if you look at what they did, they actually treated him in the wild. So they were trying to keep the management as minimal as possible. And would it have been better if he died? Maybe, I don't know, but there was other stuff going on in Ranthambore right before that. They moved a whole bunch of tigers to Sariska, so the entire tiger society was disrupted. So there was enough stuff going on that I felt like management was trying to do the best decision. But wildlife is somewhere where you can never make a perfect call, because there's all these variables, which I hope came through in the film, because everyone wants to make it black and white. Is he a man or is he not a man? Was it right? Was it wrong? And it's actually a lot more of a gray area, and you can't make a perfect call. And I think they did the best they could at the time. And everyone should remember that India is still the #1 country in the world for tigers. It could be better. We want it to be better, but we're still the best at doing it.
Do you think that if the fourth killing went differently in any way, that the result would have changed for T24?
What do you mean would have been different?
Do you think that if the fourth killing didn't happen, then he still would have eventually gotten sent to the zoo?
Well, that would have been a different fourth killing then, yeah, maybe. There would have to be another killing, because he hadn't killed anyone in 3 years, because it was 2010, 2 in 2012, and then there was nothing for 3 years. And so, yeah, he would have still been there probably, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Before the movie, in the start of the movie, you showed that India had 40,000 tigers. Okay, now we are left to around 3,000. So, if you want to have more tigers, how do you think we would have more jungles and more tigers? Do you think it is possible now, or tigers should lower down the territory now? What do you feel?
We don't have enough habitat.
Correct, for tigers.
So
how could we increase the forest, and how could we increase the tigers? Is it possible, or will they get extinct in time?
The protected areas are protected by law. So as long as the core areas stay protected, that's going to have some tigers. But if they're going to keep invading the little remaining critical tiger habitat, they're going to go away. And so I think as long it's about habitat, it's not about the tigers. It's about habitat, and people like us who in cities have taken away critical tiger habitat. So we're kind of to blame in a way, and that's why it's so difficult for wildlife officials to manage the little remaining tiger habitat. That's why there is actually conflict, because the habitat's not enough. So yeah.
So one question.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, recently only I was in Ranthambore, and what I observed was there was this Ganesh temple, and a lot of vehicles were going up and down and up and down, and there was a lot of hooliganism. Like there were these guys, triple seat and all of that, and they're honking continuously. So this was I was at a stretch for 4-5 days, and I was watching this happen daily. So isn't the forest whatever authority, they're not allowed to shut down these places of worship? And there was one more I guess Lakshmi temple or something, where it was in the very core area, and people are going up with one more Lakshmi temple also there, and Shiv temple. So the people are going up on bikes there, honking and all of that nonsense was going on. So the forest is not planning to shut these things for the time, or shift it outside.
Yeah, if the forest shut down what the villagers want to do, which is go in and worship and go on their parikrama and all that, it would be actually worse for tigers, because they are the ones who were removed from the core. They used to live there. That's where they lived with tigers, and so when they got removed, it's like you being asked to move from wherever you stay, which you may not want to do. They were compensated a little bit, but the deal was they were still allowed to go and worship. And I think the tiger reserves also have, besides preserving tigers, they preserve our culture. So I think going in there, and I've gone with the village, I've done these walks, and I actually found it fun. And most of the time it's not dangerous, but it is disruptive. But it's like I said, it's something where we're doing a compromise. It's not ideal, you know, but there were compromises today. Like people came late for my movie, you know, what can I do, you know? So. Yes.
So my name is Sarita. I'm a film writer और मैं जानना चाहती हूँ आपसे कि कैसे ये कौन सी बात थी जिस कारण आपने टाइगर 24 सब्जेक्ट को ही पिक किया? और बीइंग अ फिल्म मेकर आप कोई भी सब्जेक्ट पिक कर सकते थे, कहीं ना कहीं आपको कोई चीज इंस्पायर की होगी. तो आई वांट टू नो द इंस्पिरेशन बिहाइंड द टाइगर 24.
Well, you know that shot when he's in the water, you know, when he's looking right at me, that's the first time I saw him. So I didn't have a great reason, I just liked him. I thought it was a good shot, I liked him, I felt a connection, I said, who's this guy? Let me follow him. And everyone was like, oh, he's a male, you know, we think he killed some people, you shouldn't follow him. And I was like, you know, it's my time, I'm just gonna do it. And then I didn't expect 3 years later to have all this controversy around him. So it wasn't like I planned this thing to be this amazing, complicated story. It just happened. And then I ended up being the only guy in the world with the 4K professional footage of this animal. And yeah, and that's why I did it. I think documentaries are like fishing. You know, you don't know what fish you're going to get. And like you might get a small one, you might get nothing, you might get a huge fish. So in my case, it was a big fish with a lot of complications, you know.
चलते गए और कारवा बनता गया.
Okay, so where should we go here? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I know you said like it's a compromise, right? There's no right decision. Do you move T24 away, or do you wait a couple of years till the next person is killed?
We don't know whether he was a man-eater or not. That's up for debate. And there are two sides. Either you move T24 out or you leave him in there, and maybe in 3 or 4 years he kills someone else. You don't know. So if you were the forest department or in charge, what decision would you have taken?
I mean, I'll answer your question, but I think, you know, it's the film is really about all the complications involved in removing this animal. It's not about whether their decision was right or wrong. At the time that they removed T24, he was the only tiger killing a lot of people. And the villagers were really upset. I know it because I was there. The guards were really upset. Of course, I didn't want it to be removed. You know, no one, even they didn't want it to be removed. They could have removed him after the first attack if they wanted to, but they had to make some kind of a call at that time. And I think at the time, with the information they had, they felt it was the right move to manage the tiger reserve. Not that they had something against T24. And if you actually look at all the paperwork, they never say he's a bad man-eater. They just say danger to human life, which he's had other killings, it's a problem. So once he was removed, there was no killings for about 2 years. Then another tiger, I think T98, killed within his territory. So then the question becomes, is it the territory of the tiger? And then a couple of years later, there was a tiger called T104 who actually left the core area, which now all of you know, and went out to the village and killed villagers 3 in 1 year. And he's actually locked up in an enclosure within Ranthambore now. So you could argue that, you know, in that sense they made a mistake, but how are they going to predict the future? So I mean, that's sort of the point of the film. They're like managing a situation that's imperfect and doing the best they can. You know? Yeah.
So I was wondering this query throughout the movie that what if T24 had to return back to the jungle? What would happen to T57 then?
I mean, a great question. That would have been great, and would have been like a great fight between 57 and T24, and I would hope like that Sujit and Vishal would get the shots for me, or I would get them. You know? Yes, sir.
In your opinion, how many more years will it take till tigers are completely extinct?
I mean, I hope they don't, and then part of the mission of the film is to change that. So in the end, what we talk about is you know, about some of what's called ecosystem services, and now there's actually primary literature on the value of a tiger reserve and how it actually helps people outside the tiger reserve, like the climate change and preventing soil erosion and carbon sequestration, all those kinds of things which sound academic are actually important. So I think there's a value in keeping the tiger reserves, and so hopefully, in my mind, they should just be around. So I'm not thinking that they're not going to be around. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, Mr. Pereira, I would like to congratulate you. It's a superb piece of work and an excellent piece of dedication. It takes a good 8 to 10 years. So first of all, I would like to congratulate on that. Excellent job. Now my question is, while I agree that moving him to a better place was an agreeable and a manageable solution considering a bird-eyes view from the forest department, considering the safety of the villagers as well. But moving him to a zoo, wasn't there a better place than a zoo, maybe a buffer zone or maybe some larger natural habitat around Ranthambore? Why they moved him to a zoo and not a natural habitat around the forest?
So let me ask you, so if you're the field director of a different park, and I'm going to give you T24, a known man-eater, according to some people, you take him on, then he kills 2 villagers, you're fired. That's why. Okay, last few questions. Yes, here, please. Yes.
Hi, so I'm a wildlife photographer and filmmaker myself.
Yes.
I really enjoyed the fact that you work in tandem with the forest department. A lot of them were escorting you around these places where you were walking, and there seemed to be a lot of involvement with the department. I very rarely get to see that. Did you have any limitations? Did you have any...
Sorry, that was off. All right. Did you have any limitations with that aspect, or how forthcoming were they to you? Did they see you as a potential problem because you're exposing a lot of things that are going on? How did that go around?
Right. It's a great question, but I mean, for anyone who's done any kind of filming in a tiger reserve, you feel like a little boy, like when you're in there, you don't want to talk to the department because they're going to find out what you're doing wrong. Like, are you going in the wrong road? Did you get too close to the tiger? Did you go to the wrong zone? So in the beginning, I didn't want to talk to these guys. I didn't want anyone knowing what I'm doing. But then once this tiger became what he became, I had to talk to them. So I had to go to the office and I had to ask, like, okay, I need to film this, I need to do this, I need to go and walk where T24 killed people, which is a lot. And I befriended them. And I think they just realized, like, this guy is obsessed, like, he's not going to stop. And so I just give him what he wants. Because, I mean, there were some people who didn't give me anything I wanted. There was a person, I'm not going to name, who didn't give me this footage I needed from one of the attacks. And I literally went, with my crew can tell you, door to door saying, who was there that day? I need the footage. Because I was going to find a clip, and I found a few clips, but it got to that person that this guy is not stopping. And so eventually they gave it to me. And so the department just, after some time, just felt like, it might as well help him out. And they also realized I was being pretty neutral, which is what I tried to do, show both sides. And I've never done anything extreme. Like, I've never had an extreme emotional point of view, like the department's bad or something. It's always been, to me, a complicated thing that they're managing. And if you actually take the time to see what they do, it's difficult. They're moving prey around, their villagers are going in. It's not an easy job to do, and you have to respect these guards who even go and patrol on foot and everything. So, of course, it can be improved, but yeah, now they're cool. They came to the Jaipur Film Festival. I had the field directors there with me. I mean, when would you think you would have the chief wildlife warden, the field director, chief crimson forest watching a movie with you? It's like, I never imagined that would happen. So I'm glad it evolved. Okay, last few questions.
Hi. Firstly, congrats on such a brilliant film. And you've put in 10 years in this film. I'm sure you must have developed a personal emotional attachment with T24. Now that we know that T24 passed away just a few days back. So how do you recall your personal bond with T24? And now that you know that you've made a film on it and now it's gathering so much of love. How do you recall your bond with it?
I mean, I felt so connected to him. That's why I kept following him, and after a while, I felt like I, really knew him. But I don't know what he thought about me. But yeah, I mean, of course, I felt bad when he was removed. I didn't feel that bad when he passed away. I felt something for a moment, and then I felt good because I felt like him living in that zoo in that condition, and I get way more updates than the average person as to how he's doing. To me, I wish they had shot him after, or put him to sleep after it was decided he would never be put back, because a wild tiger, a dominant male tiger in any enclosure, that's torture. So if they've decided we're not putting him back in the wild, he should be put to sleep, in my opinion, you know. So yeah. Yes, ma'am. No, he died because of cancer, and there were other complications. But you know, if you saw him in the last couple of months, he was limping on 3 legs, and you know his whole. Yeah, it was not pretty. So I'm glad that they did so many things to keep him going. But it's like, how many times can you tranquilize this guy and try to do stuff? You know. No, Rajasthan was not into that, and I think, to be honest, I mean I don't know for sure, but I think they're so afraid of the activists pointing a finger. So they'd be like, "Oh, you shot him. You did this. You know." So I think that's the reason why they didn't do anything. You know. Yeah.
Was it tough to stay neutral throughout the interview?
Was it tough to stay neutral?
Yeah.
A little bit in the beginning, because you know you interview enough people, they piss you off. You're like, I can screw this guy who said it, you know. but then later on, as a filmmaker, it's not that difficult, because you know you're editing, so you can see how you're balancing everyone's point and everything. So, Verna, yes.
What kind of awards are you winning for this movie?
Awards, okay. My cousin said the best question of the night. Okay, I'm not going to name all the awards, there's too many, but the significant one is, I won Wildscreen, the Panda Award, and that's kind of a big deal for an Indian filmmaker. And then I won Burbank International Best Documentary, Prime Minister Jackson Wild, and there's a few more, but yeah.
Like every story has a backstory. This tiger had tumor. Has there been enough research done on the tumors of these big cats? Probably this could have been the reason why he was attacking, because I'm sure this wouldn't have started on the day they discovered it. There would have been symptoms way back and when it was developing. So there could be a possibility that his attacks on human was a way to show that he has some issue. I mean, it's just my imagination, but
Yeah, it's a good screenplay idea, but I don't think so, no.
I've seen you in the wild when you were there in one of the scenes and all those things.
Yeah.
And I mean, with you, let's say, this 2014, I saw you last in the wild, and now I'm seeing you. So even I have waited for this film. All this waiting, has it changed you as a person from 2014 until now?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely changed. I mean, I got very humbled by this film on many levels, and I didn't ever think I'd be talking to more government officials in my family who actually live here. You know what I mean? It's like, and so so for that, in that sense, and also the activists like letting me into their homes and conducting these interviews, the villagers who are victims and their families. It's very sensitive for me to go in and ask them for these interviews. I had to talk to all of them about what shots to show, what not, because I've got more mutilated footage than I ever want to see. So all of these things, and then for me also, I'm from here, but I went to the U.S. to study, so I didn't ever think I'd be opening up the Wildlife Protection Act of India and reading about this stuff, and then in the whole the distribution of this film, I thought I had this great film, but there was a pandemic, and then independent film went down, and Netflix stopped buying independent documentaries. So I'm dealing with distributing the movie and how difficult it is. So you just sort of realize that at least for me, it takes a long time to get a result at a high level, and I wish there was more life that I had, because I've put so much time into this. But yeah, yes, sir.
Has the movie released theatrically in US?
Yeah, we had a limited theatrical in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to this, but it wasn't like not 10 screen at the same time in India. Is this my living? Okay. 10 screen at the same time in India, but in the U.S. we did it city by city.
Okay.
So I actually went to every city, and it was like this long tour, and I learned quite a bit. And it's just released digitally in the U.S. and Canada. It's coming out on Blu-ray in a couple weeks in the U.S. which is my favorite format, even though the distributor doesn't want me to do it. And we're looking for distribution internationally, in India, and I really want to release it digitally in India. But I'm so glad that I should mention Anil Thadani, AA Films, is taking a big risk by putting this movie out. He does much bigger movies than this, so I'm really glad that he's decided to put this in theaters, and people came today because watching on the big screen to me is, just much better than looking at it on your phone or iPad or something. So, all right, I think
People in the West react to the movie.
people in the West.
Yeah, how did they react?
Yeah, I mean, it's a niche audience, so people who come really like it, and then, it's like similar questions to this, and, will tigers get better, and then I have to explain about India and how the culture is different, so there's more cultural questions as to why people are going in to worship a temple and stuff like that, yeah. Yes. Yes, sir.
I've heard that Noor is again in her 4th litter. If she gives birth to, with the best tiger, Ganesh, so if she gives birth to a male tiger again, would it be, probably it would be similar to the T24 Ustad. Would you follow the story again for 10-15 more years?
Okay, so the sad news is Noor's cubs are no more. So that litter didn't make it. She's an older tigress. One of her canines are now damaged, and she can't hunt. So that's just a reality. But would I do it again? Probably not, unless there's a great story. And that right there, that doesn't sound like a great. That's like a really short, tragic story. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. Really, thank you so much.
Lastly, I would just like to say that
Thank you, Dhruv, too. We become new friends. Yeah.
Besides being the director of the movie, he's also the producer, and there was a huge investment involved in the film. The publicity that the movie should have been, given him, we've not received that kind of publicity like a normal Bollywood movie does.
Do it on social media.
Exactly. So I would, it's a humble request that you guys please spread the message and please recommend everyone to watch Tiger 24. It means a lot to Warren, to me, and to all the tiger lovers. You are a part of the family. So that's just a small message for you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much.
Please, if you didn't like it, please tell people to go to the movie theater to watch it. Because we're gonna get killed by Pathan or whatever is opening this week. So just so tell them to go watch it in the theaters.
Okay. I've heard of it, but the movie should go on to all the cities. I feel for
It costs me money to put it in there.
That's there, but it's so difficult.
Find a sponsor. I'll do it. I'll do every city. Of course. It's not about not wanting to do it. Yeah, it's about being strategic. So.
Let's see. If I get an idea, I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, sure. Hey, thank you. Good. Now you know it's going for so long.
Bye, see you soon.
See you. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. Hey, man, thanks for coming. What's your name again?
Lala.
Okay. Yeah, good to meet you. Nice. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Your answers were
fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Warren,
Thank you.
Warren, thank you so much for this video.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Keep it
First,
up.
I'm calling you.
How was it? You liked it?
Listen, I love this question
I
more
know
than
the greatest
anything.
question. It's the greatest question of all time. You make a film. You be a filmmaker.
Yeah, he's too bold.
Let's have dinner one day.
Congrats, son.
Oh, thank you.
Warren, well done.
Great.
What a lovely story.
Thanks.
Great.
Well done, Warren.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bender's,
Thank you.
the
I went to
Bender's
Carl's
Spielberg.
place.
I know.
He came to Florida to watch it.
Correct. Bender's Spielberg.
Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for bringing
this
to us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you for
bringing on the
coming.
big screen.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Warren.
Thanks a lot for
Thank you.
God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, PVR.
This guy got us here.
Yeah. So Dhruv has become a new friend of mine. So yeah.
No, I'm recommending it to my friends. For sure. Thank you so much. You're welcome, sir. Thank you. Sure.
Okay.
Welcome, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, hi, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Warren. Talk about that.
Okay. Yes. Hey, good. Yeah.
The current forester requirement.
Okay.
You're welcome, sir. Very welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay. But yeah, connect us. We'll do it. Thank you so much.
But congratulations.
Yeah.
Coming out of place.
Yeah.
Thank you, Warren.
Thank you,
Enjoyed
ma'am.
it. First time I saw
Oh,
tigers.
Oh,
I'm so
okay.
scared to see them in pictures.
Oh.
But now,
Okay.
it's a good
Yeah.
experience.
Bye, Warren. Thanks.
Hey.
Thanks.
Hey,
for
thanks.
the Very
thanks.
good.
Yeah, I'm coming for Shakar.
Yeah.
Let me know the date. Let me know the date. Yeah. Hey, how are you? Good. I was calling you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lovely, beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
congratulations.
Thank you.
proud. I can imagine you've done such a good job.
Thank you.
Let's take a picture.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you. Hi. How are you doing? Hi. Oh,
I love
good to
the
meet you.
movie.
Thank you.
Can we take
Thank
a
you.
picture together?
Sure. I'm coming out also in a second if you want, you know.
Yeah.
Please take a selfie with you. I'll tag it on Insta. Yeah, sure.
Simultaneous, both same time.
Okay, thank you.
Are we coming outside only?
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you.
No, I am here now. No worry. I will give you.
Yeah. Hey, how was it? Like that? Good.
Saw it in full length.
Yeah, nice, fine. Oh, thank you. This is for me. Thank you. Okay, I'll be surrounded by flowers. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Enjoyed
Thank you.
it?
So awesome.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I have a picture with you.
Sure. Thank you. Sorry, my hands are full. Yeah.
You take my picture. Take my
Mobile. Thank you. Outside. Yeah. The next show is starting, so we have to. Yeah. Hey, how was it? You liked it? Yeah, outside. The next show is starting. Yeah. How was it? You liked it?
Very proud.
Yeah? Good?
Yeah, very professional.
Yeah? You liked it?
Take a picture with you.
Huh? Full cut. Yeah, they've seen all the...
Congratulations, Mama.
You've seen too many.
Thank you, SB. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
I made them, I colored them a little bit, you noticed? A little bit, yeah.
Tinted. You tinted it.
Yeah, sure. All right. Right. Yeah, that's well.
I want a picture first.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to put it up on Facebook.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go outside and take it. We're going out here. Outside. We're going to crowd this area. Yeah, we're going outside.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Sujit. He did the illustrations. I drove him crazy for a few months, right?
Yes, it was fun. But finally, it's great to see it on big screen.
Yeah. It makes a difference, huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's nice. Thank you.
No. I'm telling you, I would say change this tooth, change this eye.
It was worth it.
Yeah. Sure. All right, thanks. Dhruv, you want to get one with me? Oh.
Yeah, he's there. When is the next time you're going back to
I was there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw the photos from Bitru's terrace.
Yeah, sure.
I'll ask my friends Hans and Avantika to promote the film, please.
Oh, okay. Which camera am I looking at? Okay.
It's black.
All right.
In my picture, you're looking somewhere.
Oh, okay. So where should I look?
This cat.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
My picture was not good.
Oh, okay.
Abhi aap gaya?
Can I do?
Yeah, sure.
It's okay.
Okay.
केतन जी ने बोला है जो भी पिक्चर्स डालेंगे मेरे शेयर पे डालेंगे.
Share with you pictures?
For future business.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sure.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you gotta wait. Okay.
Yes, so sorry. That's my daughter.
Oh. Okay?
Thank you so
All
much.
right, sure.
Finally, we are getting a picture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic movie.
Thank
I
you.
did not see it
Amazing.
earlier. He was showing it to me on
Yeah.
I was like, no, I have to watch it on
You guys married or boyfriend?
boyfriend.
Yeah. No, she's a great guy. I really appreciate it. It's really
Sorry,
nice.
I'll get married to him.
Okay.
Once he proposes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Warren.
man.
Thank you for everything. Thank
Let's
you.
stay in touch, buddy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stay in touch.
So, see you.
See you. What happened? What for it? I'll have to look at it first.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh.
Sorry.
How are you? I've been hearing you cry from the pandemic. In the background, right?